Oh, hi. Today, I've actually been going through an alterations repair pile, and one of these projects has turned into something I've actually been wanting to do a video on for a while, but I just didn't have a garment specifically needing this type of tweak. But hi, hello. This initially was getting fixed because there was a rip in the armpit seam, so I already fixed that. A thing about me is I fucking hate long sleeves, and especially these are all floppy and open. Yes, in the winter I have my sleeves covered if I'm outside or something, but even outside of that, I'd rather just have an extra layer of like a short sleeve cardigan than have things here, because I work with my hands a lot and I feel inhibited when I have things covering this part of my arm. Just a weird thing about me, like even having this on to show you guys, I hate it. So I wanted to show you how to turn this into a short sleeve. So there are many ways to go about this. I tend to like anything that's going to be longer than like a regular t-shirt sleeve end to be pretty tight. I'm actually going to dig around and see if I have something I can turn into like a cuff. Oh my gosh, I just found the perfect scrap of fabric. This is just a stretchy t-shirt cutout. So, okay, I need to not have this on me anymore. I hate it so much. I'm gonna decide where I want these to be cut. Things to take into account is seam allowance, so you want to add like 1/2 inch, but also I'm adding a cuff to this that's probably going to be like this long. I'm going to cut it at this line right here. So I did already cut one sleeve off. I do want to have this blue stripe as the seam allowance, so that when I add the cuff, I think having a dark blue stripe against the cuff would be good, and like I can follow along this line as I stitch it all together. This is close to this, but not exactly, so I think giving it a little separation will make it look a little less funky. The stripes actually look even. Like, this is a surprisingly well-made shirt. I don't know where I got it from. Oh, it's an Old Navy shirt. That is surprising. It's helpful that these were made identically, which doesn't always happen with cheap fast fashion shirts, because this is such stretchy, wobbly material that laying it down is just going to give a more precise measurement doing it this way. And because I'm following this line, I'm cutting this out one layer at a time, where if you have a solid fabric, go right ahead and cut through both at the same time. For many reasons, I'm surprised this is an Old Navy shirt. A, it's not a place I shop. I don't tend to buy new clothes anyway. It's almost always thrifted or given to me by someone else. And I'm also surprised because the quality of this all being lined up, like that doesn't seem the type of thing that a fast fashion place would consider. Now we have our shorter sleeves. I'm going to decide how long I want my cuff. Probably a little thicker, like 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe, like that. So if you're cutting up an old t-shirt, it's going to stretch more side to side, and that's what you want. You want to make sure you're measuring so the cuff is going to get as much give as possible. I have little noodle arms, so this is enough fabric for me, so I can just do the one seam. But you can certainly do this so it has 2 side seams. I'm just going to have the one because, again, noodle arms. Since I'm just kind of stuck using what I have, I'm going to kind of square this out. That's all evened out. Like I said, I want about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So I'm going to double that and then add 1/2 inch for seam allowance. So I want a total of 4.5. All right, cool. I'm going to attach right sides together. If you had to do this with 2 pieces, you're making the whole circle here. Do that for both. Got our tubes. Now we're going to turn them, well, partially out. We're going to fold it in half so that both right sides are facing out. Perfect. I like to base this ahead of time. I'm going to do like my longest possible stitch and just connect these so that they stay even. Do that on both. And again, wrong sides together. It's the right side outside on both. Ta-da! Super long stitch. I just kept it on zigzag. Didn't want to inhibit any of the stretching here. These are both right sides out, so it doesn't matter which way you have it facing, as long as the raw edges are lining up. The raw edges of your sleeves, like this, your sleeve needs to be right side out. Much like with attaching elastic to something, line up the seams, then fold the cuff in half, sleeve in half, pin there. Also, if you have trouble sewing something as like stretchy and floppy as this material I'm working with, I have a walking foot and a ballpoint needle, and that is making all the difference. The walking foot, more than anything else, is a game changer. This is like the ideal type of thing to use a serger for. Nothing else in the alterations pile I'm working on is gonna need it, and I don't want to take up all that table space just for this one thing. You can pin this in as many places as you feel comfortable. I tend to go for 4. I'm taking my time pinning these a little more than I might with some other things because I haven't been wearing any of this stuff. And yes, this shirt in particular needed a repair done to the armpit because the seam had fallen apart, but also it needed some updates for it to actually stay in rotation. I'd rather not just immediately cut corners with things and like half-ass it and then not end up wearing it, because that is also not helpful. And taking my time with little things like this, I find it very therapeutic. I have a very anal retentive brain, so organizing and like lining these pins up, it's a very satisfying task. Just like seam ripping, there's something about it that I just find very calming. Okay, so just to recap, my whole shirt is right sides out. The cuffs raw edge, ooh, I just threw a pin out. Cool, let's put that back in. The raw edges on the cuffs are lined up with the raw edge of the shirt, and it's for this part that I wanted to baste the edges together on the cuff, so that when I'm stretching everything, these two are going to stay together, and it's less to keep an eye on. You don't need to worry about that stuff moving. It's one more step, but it makes this part much less of a headache. So I'm going to stretch these until the pins are lining up with each other and everything's going to be even. All right, so this is what it all looks like sewn together. You just flop it out. I just got that excited feeling like, hey, the project didn't get totally fucked up and it's done now. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at this. This is definitely something I will wear now. It's comfortable and it's nice to have like one extra layer. I would keep this on the rest of the day if it wasn't July. This is the only other thing I've actually taken care of in my repair pile. So onto the 12 other things I have to do. So who knows if this video will be out before the repair pile video will be out, but either way, I will see you back here with another video on Saturday. Thanks for hanging out. I lost track of the ramble I was just on.